Hello, 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 hello. Oh, that's my car. Hold on. Hello, hello. So I'm Griff, and I'm in Humboldt Redwood State Park. And Humboldt Redwood State Park isn't all about just redwoods. We have oak woodlands too, and many other trees. And today, I'm going to talk about a tree that's very toxic. Okay, it is super poisonous. But it smells great, and it looks beautiful, and it's super interesting, and it has some qualities and some cultural connections about it that is almost unparalleled in the park. But before I get into that, I'm going to just try to find a place to be here. So we are like, 10-ish days away from summer. And, wait, hold on. I said we're 10-ish days away from summer. Climate, go ahead and start, changing. It's like winter here. It's cold, it's windy, it's been raining off and on, but we're 10-ish days away from summer. So I'm hoping that as soon as the cartoons, when the seasons change, they just change in this at the moment. And so I'm hoping it will be like that on the 21st because it's doing winter. This is a live broadcast, and I may or may not be able to see your comments because Facebook's doing something different these days, and so I can't see all your comments always. I'm going to try. So I was told that if I put in a comment real fast, that it would work. So I'm going to try that real quick. And I misspelled hello. But there you are. So now I can see your comments. So you're right, Kyle. I can see the comments once I wrote in a comment. So we are going to talk about a very interesting plant. But before we get into it, I just want to let you know this is a live broadcast. I can see your comments now, so I'll answer some of your questions. But when I get back to my office, I will answer the rest of your questions. And I love engaging with you guys. And thank you so much for sharing. The last, the Maple Tree broadcast got 148 shares, and I really appreciate that. I love this place, and I love native plants, and I love nature. And I think the more people who know about nature, the more people who understand nature, the more people who take compassionate action to help nature. And boy, does nature need help right now. So you can watch the past broadcasts on our Facebook channels, Facebook pages, or you can go to our YouTube channel, which is North Coast Redwoods District, and you can see all the interpreters in the Humboldt North Coast Redwoods District. You can hear all of their presentations. So let's get down to it, because this tree, every time I research a tree, it becomes my favorite tree. So right now, this is my favorite tree. This beautiful tree is super, super toxic. It is a California endemic, and people used the seed of this plant to stupefy fish. Yes, stupefy fish. Some of you are like, why would anybody want to stupefy poor little fish? But yes, it was. I'll get to that later, okay? Let's just focus on the plant for now. So California buckeye is endemic, meaning, endemic means, and here's another one of my science words I love to teach y'all. Endemic means restricted to a certain place. So this buckeye is restricted to California. It has cousins in other states. In fact, there's a buckeye that is the state tree of Ohio, okay? But this buckeye, California buckeye, only lives in California. And all parts of it are toxic, okay? The leaves are toxic. The seeds are toxic. The bark is toxic. Everything is toxic. So, sorry, I'm having a hard time standing in all these sharp stickers. Anyways, so there's not a lot of things that can eat it. In fact, the only time you can, if you're a deer, which is the main largest herbivore here now, if you're a deer and you want to eat this plant, you can eat it in early February because it's a deciduous tree. Remember, deciduous means loses its leaves. But when it first comes out of the ground in February, or first puts on its leaves in February, it has very little toxin, and that's when the deer eat it. And they really like to eat it because apparently it's high in protein, and they somehow know that without a nutrition label. I don't know, but they know. And then once again, when the leaves turn yellow, and it's summer deciduous. So this is a summer deciduous plant, meaning it loses its leaves in the summer, and that's a drought adaptation, okay? So you use less water if you don't have leaves, right? So it drops the leaves in the summer, and those yellow leaves that fall to the ground, they don't have any toxin in them, and that's when the deer can eat them again. But other than that, you best not put your lips on this plant because you will die. Pollinators, insect pollinators actually evolved with this plant, and they love the nectar. In fact, I have seen more insect pollinators on this one. It's cold today for some reason, even though it's in June, it's cold. Did y'all hear me? Climate, it's cold today. We can start doing summer soon. But butterflies, native bees, flies, and beetles love to visit these flowers. They can drink the nectar because they evolved with this, and this plant smells wonderful. This is a wonderful smelling plant, and the insect pollinators just love it. However, if you're a beekeeper and you have honeybees, European honeybees, you don't want to put your beehives next to this plant because nectar is toxic to them, because European honeybees didn't evolve with this plant. So if you're a beekeeper, you definitely don't want to do that, because when the honeybees, European honeybees, take the pollen from the buckeye, California buckeye, back to the hive and feed it to their queen, she stops laying eggs, or she lays a lot fewer eggs. And the eggs she does lay give birth to, or hatch out, and the larvae are often deformed. So don't sit your beehives next to California buckeye. But if you're trying to attract native pollinators and you don't live next to a farm, this is a wonderful plant to plant, because it attracts, I swear, it attracts more pollinators than any other plant, and it smells great. So each one of these doesn't make a fruit. If it did, it would break, because the fruit are huge. In fact, it's the biggest. Let me grab this picture for y'all. It's the biggest seed in California. This is, of all the native plants, California buckeyes have the biggest seed. And see why it's called buckeye? When it comes out of the husk, it kind of looks like there's eyelids and this dark eye from a deer. That's why it's called California buckeye. Again, here's a picture of the flowers, but we don't need this picture because we got real flowers. So where was I going with this? Oh, I'm still talking about what eats these seeds. This is a big seed. Okay, this is a big hand holding a big seed. They're really fun to find in the fall, but they are poisonous. And so, oh, that's what's crawling on me. I'm standing on top of an anthill. Okay, let me get off this anthill and out of these stickers. So squirrels are immune to the seed's poison. Squirrels, gray squirrels and ground squirrels actually take these big seeds, and they, excuse me while I dance a little bit. Those of you who know me know that I actually do dance. Probably could tell by looking at me that I was a dancer. But if I dance right now, it's because I'm being attacked by ants and stickers. So when the squirrels take these buckeye, they stash them, they cache them all over the place, because this is a good food source. It's huge, they're like this big. So for a squirrel, that's like 5 or 6 Thanksgivings, you know what I'm saying? So they cache them around, but squirrels, as you know, often become someone else's lunch, dinner, or breakfast. Okay, rattlesnakes and hawks and all kinds of things eat squirrels, foxes, coyotes. So when they die, those caches of seeds grow, and that's one of the buckeye's 2 seed dispersal mechanisms. So seed dispersal mechanisms. Here's another ecological concept that I would love for you to understand, because the more you understand about plants, the more you'll start seeing cool stuff. So seed dispersal mechanism basically means how the seed gets away from the parent plant, because you don't want your babies to fall underneath of you if you're a parent plant, because then you'll shade them out. That's not good. Then you'll compete for water and other resources. That's not good. So you want them to move. And plus, if you guys are all in one spot, then you're all susceptible to some local catastrophe like a fire, earthquake, or whatever, a herd of whatevers. So the seed dispersal mechanism is these squirrels. And so they take them out, and other seed dispersal mechanisms that you might be familiar with is, you ever pick up those little puffy things in the grass, the dandelions, and blow it, you make a wish, you're like, I wish that so-and-so would like me, and you blow them. What you should have been wishing for is for more dandelions in your lawn, because that's the wish that will come true, okay? And coconuts, so coconut tree on the island, it falls into the beach and it rolls down to the water, and the wave pulls it out and then takes it to another island and throws that coconut on the beach. That coconut was a seed, and now a coconut tree will grow there, okay? Huckleberries, which we have a lot in this park. Huckleberries, they're perfect size to fit into a thrush robin's mouth in one bite and swallow. Oh, the ants found me over here too. And it swallows them, and it flies far away, and it poops it out, and the huckleberry grows there. Seed dispersal mechanism. And buckeyes have 2, squirrels and gravity. Okay? I forgot to mention something about the toxicity. A couple things, actually. when you stupefy, mentioned that this plant was used to stupefy fish. So when you take, and let me get the camera off myself real quick. Hold on. People used to fish with these more often. Some people still fish with these, but a lot of the indigenous people would mash these up and throw them in the water, and the poison temporarily stupefies fish, okay? But that poison doesn't stay in the fish, so you can eat the fish right afterwards. It just kind of clogs up their gills. So that is one of the interesting parts of how this plant has been used by people. All right. So this is how you recognize it. Kind of reminds you of a maple, okay, and a leaf. And they grow, they're, like I said, drought resistant, so they grow all over California, but just California. And they lose their leaves in July because they're summer deciduous, except for here. Here it's like we don't have that Mediterranean climate that most of California has. Well, we do and don't. So Mediterranean climate is a rare climate that happens in, oh, look at, there's a turkey vulture flying by right here. Mediterranean climate means cool, wet winters and hot summers. And so we kind of have that, but it rains a lot more in this park. So our buckeyes usually don't lose their leaves in July, like in the other parts of California. They last a lot longer, so into fall. And then they lose their leaves, and then it's the first, buckeyes the first deciduous plant to leaf out in the winter. And they do that because they're trying to get a head start on the growth. So very cool, endemic, only lives here plant. I got some other things I want to show you about it real quick. So even though lots of insects enjoy drinking that nectar, because on a warm day, it's not warm today, so there's not a lot of insects out, because for some reason the climate still thinks it's winter. But when it warms up, you'll see lots of plants, lots of insects all over this plant. And only 2 of them use this as larval host plants. So when I talk about native plants, one of the most important reasons why you should plant native plants in your yard, plants that are native to your region, your local region. You don't want to plant plants that are native to the United States. You want to plant plants that are native to your area, your immediate area. And that's because native plants and insects co-evolved with each other. And a lot of insects only lay their eggs on a couple native plants. And so if those native plants don't exist, those insects don't exist. And if those insects don't exist, then the birds aren't getting food for them. So only 2, according to CalScape, which is California Native Plant Society's like native plant landscaping website, only 2 insects use buckeye as a larval host plant, and one of them is the azure blue. Ooh, azure blue. Isn't that pretty? See, if you had a buckeye plant, you might have a bunch of these in your yard, and no one's mad at beautiful butterflies in your yard. No one is going to say, I would come over your house more often, except for you have too many beautiful butterflies in your yard. And then there's this Tortrix, orange Tortrix moth, and I don't know why it's called Tortrix or what that implication means, but I think it's probably a nice moth. So this moth also uses the buckeye to grow. All right, let me check out some of your comments, and I would highly encourage you guys to, it's in the 90s here, so in SoCal, just rub it in my face, won't you, Robin Shorter? Hello from North Carolina. Awesome. Hello, you guys. Okay, I got some comments I'm going to answer. Kim Cabrera's in the house. So, please plant native plants. You can learn what native plants are native to your region by your zip code, even by going to the Native Plant Finder. It's National Wildlife Federation's Native Plant Finder. You can just Google Native Plant Finder and enter your zip code, and it will tell you what is native to your zip code. Doesn't work so well in California because we are a super diverse microclimate state, except for right now. This is a pretty macro cold. It's cold for a big area around here. It's cold. Oh, sorry. So you can go to join your California Native Plant Society, and there's chapters, local chapters, and you can contact those chapters and say, do you have a native plant list? Which I'm sure they do. And they might even have native plant cells or nurseries, like my local chapter does, Humboldt chapter. So North Coast chapter. So you could buy those native plants and put them in your yard and help pollinators, and that'd be wonderful because a lot of the pollinators are migratory, like the monarchs, and so they can land in your yard, refuel, and keep flying to wherever they're going. So thank you guys very much for joining me. Let me see if I have any last minute things to do before I escape all these ants and stickers. I think I got it. Yeah, so check out California Native Plant Society if you live in California, and if not, go to the Native Plant Finder and be part of the solution. Help us help wildlife. You can have a park like the one I live in your home by planting native plants. And remember, Humboldt Redwood State Park isn't just redwoods. We have oak woodlands too, and that's what makes us the coolest, most beautiful, and interesting park in the whole entire world. I'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend. I said have a good weekend, and now it's going to stop.